right here we have the tried and true, the legendary 4-liter V6 engine. And honestly, that's probably the only positive thing I have to say about this vehicle. And I know I'm gonna have a lot of people disagree with me because this is the 5th generation 4Runner. I mean, this is the phenomenal vehicle that everyone tends to gravitate to. Me personally, I don't understand the hype, but hopefully throughout this video, you'll probably see it kind of from my point of view and why I feel the way I feel. So let's get a little deeper into it. What I will say is, obviously, from my experience using the Toyota 4Runner, I can't sit here and beat around the bush and say this isn't a reliable vehicle. Very reliable. Like, I don't tend to worry about this vehicle breaking down on me. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people gravitate to it, or they feel very confident to say this is a very reliable engine. And I would agree. But like I said, that's probably the only positive thing I have to say outside of the way that the Toyota 4Runner looks, because I would be lying if I didn't say it had a good look, because it looks phenomenal, especially with the TRD wheels. But we're going to get deeper into what this Toyota 4Runner has to offer. But I just wanted to say that because personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the Toyota 4Runner, but I understand why people gravitate to it due to its reliability. And if you can like and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. But what do you think of this TRD grill? I like the upgrade. And speaking of this TRD grill, this is actually part of a XP package. And it also comes with these 20-inch TRD wheels, and also it has the off-road tires, as you can see, which is a phenomenal look on the Toyota 4Runner. And it also comes with these Predator Pro step bars as well, which another good touch on this vehicle. And this one also comes with the black badging. So you got the XP badging, you also got the 4Runner badging around back, and you got the X series. So basically what this vehicle is the 2019 Toyota 4Runner SR5 Premium with the XP package. And if you're unaware of what the XP package is, it is a Southeast Toyota exclusive accessory upgrade and is only available in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, which I film all my videos here in Georgia, so I was able to acquire one, which I think that's a super cool fact that they did that exclusively in these areas on the East Coast. So fun fact. Like I said, this vehicle has a lot of negatives. Let's start with the gas. For starters, it gets 17 miles per gallon in the city. It gets 20 miles per gallon in the highway, and combined, it gets 18 miles per gallon, which isn't good. And that is very known throughout the 4Runner community. So that's one thing I don't like about this. And personally, I feel like the drive feel is kind of clunky. It doesn't feel very smooth, in my personal opinion. Obviously, this is just an opinion, because I do know there's a lot of people that loves the way that the 4Runner drives, but I'm just not one of those people. That isn't the only thing that I have a problem with this vehicle. Let's check out the front. It also doesn't have a lot of space. It feels as if you're kind of like trapped in it. For an individual like me, I'm not the tallest guy in the world, I'm not the shortest guy in the world, but how I see it is I'm kind of big, so when I sit in certain parts of the vehicle, it feels as if like I'm kind of closed in. If you're a claustrophobic individual, then this vehicle feels like you're very tight. It feels like you don't have a lot of space, in my personal opinion. So I'm not a big fan of how much space you have in a Toyota 4Runner, but this isn't why you would get this vehicle. You'll probably lean more to a Sequoia or a Grand Highlander. That's another good option, but you wouldn't get a 4Runner for space, and it definitely lacks a lot of it. There are certain points within the 4Runner where there is decent space, especially if you put down the back seats, is a good amount of space. But for the most part, when you're sitting in it and the feel you feel when you're driving, you feel very boxed in my personal opinion. Let's start her up and talk about this, the lack of technology. The 4Runner, it just doesn't have much going on. If you are a tech savvy individual, this vehicle isn't for you. They didn't upgrade the Toyota 4Runner until 2020. That wasn't a generational jump. That was more so they went from this to Apple CarPlay and stuff of that nature, because this one doesn't have Apple CarPlay. This is a 2019. This is before they started that. So this is what you get. And personally, I've never used it for anything GPS wise. So it lacks a lot of features. I mean, it's very clunky. The controls are very big. From the hype of a Toyota 4Runner, at least what I gathered from it, it seemed as if it has some special thing about it. But I think the lack of features is what makes it such a good vehicle. I mean, obviously, when you don't have anything to break inside of it, then it's hard for it to break. But personally, as you can see, it's very outdated for a vehicle that was released in 2019, in my personal opinion. Even the gauge cluster is still very basic. And obviously, I know there's going to be a lot of people come at me because they probably love this about the 4Runner. The simplicity, the ease of use, the lack of technology, because like I said, if you have nothing that can break inside of your vehicle, then it is highly reliable, which I cannot deny that. It feels reliable. It feels like I can't break anything in here. But me personally, I don't really see the value in that in this period of my life. I want to be very transparent. And if you were to buy a Toyota 4Runner, this is what you have to expect if it's before the year of 2020. If you're buying a used Toyota 4Runner, this is how it looks in the inside. I wasn't really aware of how the Toyota 4Runner looked in the inside until I drove one. And it has some features, like for example, this one does have the sunroof, so you can open up the sunroof using that. It functions perfectly. That's one thing I can say about the Toyota 4Runner. I don't think there's not one thing in this vehicle that does not function properly how it's supposed to, and I haven't had any issues with this vehicle, so I can confidently say this is truly a reliable vehicle. And if you're going for reliability, then this is still one of the number one choices. But if you're going for a fun vehicle, something that is newer, feels newer, has a lot of tech, this just doesn't do it. But let's talk about some of the other things it has. You could turn on the lights right here with this switch right here. It has some buttons for your garage door if you have a garage, and then a few other features right here. And then you got the 4-wheel drive feature down here where you could switch it over. So this one does have 4-wheel drive, which I do like that feature. Haven't utilized it yet in this vehicle, and you can pretty much see everything else it has to offer. I mean, there's not much going on here. This is probably what I don't like about the 4Runner. Is not a lot going on in this vehicle, and I know that is the selling point. I'm very aware of that, but it's just something that I think other people should know before they go out to get a 4Runner, because I know that there's other people out there that expects more from it, but it's so overhyped that they feel that they got to still kind of lean into it because they heard so many good things about the 4Runner. The only good thing that I can confirm is that it is reliable. That's the only truly good thing that you get out of the 4Runner that you wouldn't get from other higher tech vehicles. The reliability. And obviously a vehicle is to get you from point A to B, and the Toyota 4Runner would 100% do that. So if that's what you're looking for, then look no further. Okay, but let's see how much space you have in the back seat, because like I said, I feel like this vehicle does not offer a lot of space, but let's check it out. All right. All right. So we're in the back seat. That's how much room I have from the front seat. Then you got this very, very low roof. Then let's slide over. That was very smooth. Then you got this. So that's how much room you have in the back seat. Me personally, like I said, it doesn't feel like you have a lot of space back here. You can move around quite smoothly. I also move the seats up a bit just so I can show you that experiment. But if you were to sit normally up front, then that seat will be back a little bit further, because that's how tight it is in the inside for real if you're actually driving it. Obviously, you can make it comfortable if you're the only one sitting in the vehicle. In real daily use, it doesn't look like this. So I'm just trying to tell you from a perspective as if you were about to go buy the Toyota 4Runner. So just something to keep in mind. My final verdict on the 5th generation Toyota 4Runner is extremely reliable. And if you're looking for a reliable vehicle, this is a reliable vehicle. But if you're looking for a vehicle that has tech, space, like a luxury vehicle, this doesn't have it. You're not going to find it in the Toyota 4Runner, at least not the 5th generation. So if you're in the market for a Toyota 4Runner and you think that it has all the things that a Tahoe has or all the things that a Yukon has, you'll be sadly mistaken. And obviously for the people who knows the difference, obviously I'm not talking to you people, I'm talking to the people that are clueless about a 4Runner or clueless about other vehicles that they think they want. They hear a lot of people talk so positively on it, which the 4Runner falls into that category. So I just want to shine a little light on it. But ultimately, I am a fan of the 4Runner. It doesn't sound like it, but I am, for its reliability. And also is market value. It does not depreciate as fast. So I do appreciate it for those reasons. And if you are looking for a vehicle that's reliable, doesn't depreciate fast, I mean, you can't find a better vehicle than the 4Runner. But with that being said, I'll see you on the next one.